Good adventures, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of Books Cubed. March of the Zombies continues. This is part 2 of the Undead Tales, 15 thrilling zombie stories, a Night of the Writing Dead Anthology show. And there's one more part next week. So lots more zombies to finish out the month of March. This week I am finishing the interview with Alex C. Gates. Last week we got as far as him reading. So just as a reminder, here's a really quick snippet from that reading.
I opened my eyes and watched her throw herself against the fencing over and over and over, each time leaving a part of her dangling from the galvanized steel. I pulled the gun from my mouth, releasing a gasp as well. Maybe that's what she wanted now, for me to join her, for us to be together, to be one, to be whole once more. Maybe that's why she reached for me. A man alone in a dying world had nothing but hope. Unfortunately, I didn't even have that.
And that was from Alex's short story, Ashes. Now let's chat with Alex, and I'll see you after. Let's talk about being in the room with 25 other authors for a whole weekend, and you guys are creating this world. And then there's a couple of references through the stories to the incident of 1968. But what was it like? Were all these people shouting out things and writing things down? Was it pandemonium?
No, surprisingly, it wasn't. I actually thought it would when Jay and Zach said, "All right, guys, we're gonna do some world building, and we're just gonna kind of start with this topic, and we just want to hear what your thoughts on it are." I thought it was gonna be pandemonium, like you said, that people are gonna be shouting out answers, and we're gonna be arguing over the semantics of the world. But it was very surprising how well we all agreed with each other, and how well everyone built on each other. So someone would be like, "Hey, we should have zombies that are a little intelligent." And they'll be like, "Well, maybe not intelligent, but maybe they get a boost." And everyone just kind of piggybacked on each other's ideas. It was really, really cool. It was a cool thing to watch evolve.
Oh, that's nice. When this was announced, I considered going, but I just couldn't do it. Then I thought about doing the virtual, yeah. Then I thought, oh, I can't do that either because I really want to be there. I don't want to be virtual. I want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like it was good. And then after you guys did all the logistics, did you do any writing there, or did you wait till you got home to do any writing?
I waited until I got home. So as you know, Jay and Zach they co-author a lot of their stuff. And so one of the things that they kind of put out there was like, "Hey, if you guys do want to co-author this, you're going to have to start working on it here at the event." And so I kind of threw my idea out there to a couple people, but my idea is it was hard to sell because and I didn't know if I really wanted to co-author on it anyway, just because of kind of the intimacy with it. So I personally didn't start writing there, but I know that a few people, as soon as our world building was over, they went right back to the hotel room or their Airbnb and they were plugging away at the story. So
I'm sorry. How long did it take you to get your first draft done?
Oh man, probably it's 7,000 words. It probably took me about a week to do.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
how long is it altogether?
Just over 7,000 words.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you how many pages, but just over 7,000 words. The hardest part for me, the thing that took about 2 days to do was writing the. You probably remember the car scene where he gets caught in the trunk.
Yes.
Where he sleeps overnight in the trunk.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes.
And then the zombies are surrounding the car.
And he's he's not alone. And yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Well, so with that scene at first, I only had like 3 or 4 zombies, and I sent it off to a beta reader, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And they're all like, "It's not enough peril. The stakes aren't high enough." So then I changed it to what it is now. And when there's that sea of zombies, it's just like, well, now how do I get them out of here? It's impossible. So that took me about 2 days of just like working with other people. Like, hey, what can we do to get this? He has a match or a lighter, and he has a machete, and these are what he has. What can we do to get him out of this? So that took a while to write.
It's very scary, and it's claustrophobic, and you're so fearful for him and who he's with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very yeah, it's very gripping. Gripping is the word I'm trying to think of. I my husband works till like midnight. So I tend to do my reading from about 9 o'clock until 11 when he gets home, 11:30. And I was up till like 2 in the morning for 3 nights
Oh,
in a row,
just reading
finishing the
this.
book because I didn't want to stop. Yeah, but he's like, it's 2 in the morning, go to bed.
Yeah,
So
there's some really talented authors in this.
yes, there really, really are. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm talking to, I think, one more, possibly two more.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, yeah. So I'm really excited to talk to this many, or that I'll get to talk to in this book. It was good. I remember reading it, thinking, wow, I could get a paperback and send it to everybody to sign. Oh my God, it's really good.
Oh, that'd be
So, and I
amazing.
was gonna get a paperback so I could hold it up, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think to
Well,
order
you
it
can hold
soon
your
enough.
Kindle up.
Yeah, it's pretend it's there. And it's on my Kindle, and it's paperwhite, but it's black and white.
Oh yeah,
So
so
it
yeah,
loses everything when it's black and
lose the
white.
whole feel.
Okay, so do you normally? I saw some. I looked at some of your other books, but I
Hmm.
didn't get a chance to really do too much reading of any of them. And it seems like you kind of the same um, dark stories, but
Yeah.
not necessarily dystopian or post-apoc for all of them.
No, so my other two novels are both based in horror, kind of just deep horror. The first one's more of a classic horror tale, very gothic and dark, um, like early Stephen King. I hate saying that, but um,
Is it the one with the face?
no, that's Mask of Silence with the stitches.
Oh, the stitches. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, with the stitches. That one was my more recent release. That one is based on a little more modern horror, kind of like slasher movies almost. Um, and but again, both stories, Demon of Decay and Mask of Silence, I kind of base them on, I guess, eras of movie horror history. Um, but they're both very grounded in reality, kind of like Ashes. A lot of the terror comes from the characters and the relation you have with the characters.
That's good. I mean, that's the best kind. When you get when the reader
Are you there?
just
I'm
gets so
losing you.
pulled
Okay.
in, and they're terrified for the characters, and they don't want to read on because you don't
Mhm.
want to read on because you're terrified, but you need to read on because you're terrified, and you want to see a happy ending, which doesn't always happen in post-apoc and
No.
dystopian and zombie. So
Yeah.
how long have you been writing? How many books do you have out? Is it 4?
I have, including The Night of the Writing Dead, I have 2 books and then one other on its way.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how long have you been writing?
You might ask the question, but you broke up.
Oh,
When
I'm
you,
sorry. Yeah, we keep
I
sorry,
know.
listeners. We keep kind of losing each other. How long have you been writing?
I've been writing for, on as cliche as it is, as long as I can remember. I wrote a lot when I was younger, just different like little short stories. I mostly did a lot of creation through characters and just kind of role playing stuff. Um, and then the older I got, the more when I was more a senior in high school, freshman in college, that's when I really started to write. So
Okay, and yeah, yeah, I'm kind of the same way, but I didn't write anything down till gosh, I was probably in my 40s when I actually started putting stuff on paper. I would just tell the
yeah,
stories in my head and live them in my head. And
yeah,
so I would love to be able to go back and tell myself, get your ass in the chair and put pen to paper.
yes,
Because some of
yes.
those things that I can't remember now. So if you could go back and talk to yourself, I mean, you're not that old, but if you went back a couple of years and talked to your younger self, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Honestly, the same thing you would tell yourself. Just write, write. I feel like really early on, so I'm 29, and I really started to make a push at this publishing thing when I was about 24, 25. And I tell myself when I was about 25, just write, keep writing every day, whether it's 200 words or 2,000 words. Um,
Yeah, that's really good advice. There's plenty of authors out there who say that they write 100 words a day, and in a year you can write a novel.
oh yeah, exactly. And I grew up playing sports. So if you take basketball, for example, even those days where you feel tired or you're sore and you don't want to do anything, if you're showing up at the gym and putting up shots, you're getting better. And I think the same thing applies to writing. If you're just showing up every day, if you're tired, if you don't want to do it, if you're hungover, whatever it might be, um, as long as you're doing it every day, 100 words, 1,000 words, you're getting better.
Yeah, and you've the more books you write, the better writer you become.
Yep,
And I've noticed
exactly.
that with so many of the authors that I follow. I look at their first books and they're good, but then I get to their latest books and like, wow,
They're really good.
they've really gotten good. Yeah, definitely. So you're writing one right now?
Yeah, so I'm about to send one out in 2 weeks, March 24th, I think.
So you're done right now.
I'm done writing it. Yeah, I'm doing a couple final edits on it, but
It
I'll
must
be
be.
done.
Is how hard is it to let go during those final edits? I mean, do you find yourself wanting to go back and do rewrites ever, or do you listen to
Always.
your editor who says let go?
Always. No, I always just want, it's never perfect enough for me. Like I need it to be so perfect. And so that's another thing I tell my younger self is it's never going to be perfect. Every time you read it, you're going to see something new. Um, and so just kind of once you're done with it, once you feel like it's where it needs to be, send it out there. And what I like to do is when I send them out there is I just move on. So
Smart. That's very smart. And yeah, I have one novel and one very short story out, and it's been 2 years since I published the first novel, and so I'm just such a perfectionist. My editor's
yeah.
like, send it to me, send it to me. I told her, okay, I'm sending it to you in April on my birthday, which is in late April, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it. I'm gonna send it then, because I can't be. Yeah, it's the perfectionism. I really need to
Yeah.
let go of that. So, do you have your next book idea in mind?
Oh, I have so many book ideas in mind. It's just deciding which one I want to go with, which one I want to run with. I was thinking about writing kind of a Jim Butcher, I guess. I don't think it'd be as lighthearted as Jim Butcher, but
Oh
it'd be
yeah, yeah, with his
more in the
Dresden
urban.
series.
Yeah, yeah, Dresden series. It'd be a little more gritty, but kind of like a urban horror type of series. So
Ah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Do you find that you can sit down? So now are you going to give yourself a little bit of time, or can you sit down right away and dive in?
as soon as I move on, I can just dive in.
And
So
is that pretty good? Do you have issues with writer's block?
me, not only, yeah. So that's a tough question for me because I think writer's block, for me personally, I don't know how it is for everyone, but for me personally, it's just an excuse for me not to write that day. It's just one of those days like, I'm just lazy and I don't want to write, so I'm gonna have writer's block.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, exactly. And for me, if I'm working on something and I find I can't go forward, I open a new chapter and restart the idea. No
yep.
problem. Goes
Then
right
you
on
just start
through.
going, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'll do the same thing in a little different way where if I just can't go any further in the book because I get like that car scene, I get caught up and I can't figure something out. I'll start writing a short story or I might start reading. And sometimes if I open up a book and just start reading, it really inspires me because that's what really inspired me to write as well as reading. And so I'll just read a chapter in the book. I'm like, these ideas in my head again. I'm like, all right, well, now I'm just going to keep going. So,
Even when you're walking around thinking about how to get them out of the car or whatever situation your character's in, you're still writing because you're running
mhm.
situations through your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, some writers just don't realize that thinking about stuff is sometimes just as good as sitting down and writing it, but you
Mm-hmm.
do have to do both
Oh
eventually.
yeah, no. I spend way too much time in the shower thinking about stuff.
Oh God, yeah. Usually I'm at a coffee house and I'm writing and I say, I just can't write anymore. My mind's frazzled. I'll put it together, get to the car, and then have to sit in the car for 20 minutes writing on my phone where I'd stop because it comes to me. Sometimes it's as soon as I close my computer to stand up and go, oh, I'm not sitting back down again. I'm going to do it in the car.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just that change of scenery or that change of
Yeah,
pace.
exactly. Exactly. And vacuuming helps really well too. Vacuum. If you vacuum, it's a nice mindless activity. Doing the
Uh-huh.
dishes, you have to think too much with the dishes because you don't want to poke yourself with knives or forks or
Yeah,
things like that or drop glasses. But vacuuming is very mindless, so it's fantastic when you're stuck on something.
I'll have to
So
keep that in mind.
yeah. So did you always read horror as a kid?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up reading Scooby-Doo, which is kind of horror-ish, and a series
That's
of
great. I love
unfortunate,
Scooby-Doo.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And series of unfortunate events, Goosebumps, stuff like that. And then I kind of graduated into Stephen King, Eyes of a Dragon, when I
Oh, I
was
haven't
about.
read that one.
So it was in a Scholastic, like one of those little Scholastic magazines that when you're middle school.
Love that was my favorite day at
Yes,
school when they brought the
right.
Scholastic
I
things
love
out.
it. Those are my favorite days ever. And so I circled the Stephen King Eyes of a Dragon because it was for my age group. Believe it or not, Stephen King does have a couple not children's, but younger audience books. And I fell in love with it. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever read. And so I just went through and bought his entire catalog after that.
Oh
So
yeah, it's good stuff. What was I going to ask you? What was I going to ask you? We talked about this. We talked about this. Oh, okay. This is one now for me. Can't remember the name of the book. I wish I could remember the name of the book, but I absolutely loved it. It was a book I read as a kid, and there was this relationship in it, and it just destroyed me. And I probably cried for a week, and I probably went back to the library and reread that same book like every day forever. I mean, the librarian probably was sick of me, and I wish I could remember the name of the book. Do you have a memory? It's probably helped me want to become a writer, probably, because I wanted to help her. I wanted to do something to fix the sadness that the character felt. I mean, do you have something that really affected you so strongly as a kid?
yeah, and it's so funny because it was probably right after I read Eyes of the Dragon. So I was probably, again, about 13, 14 years old. And the next Stephen King book I bought was Cujo.
Oh,
And
God.
I still remember to this day where I was. I was lying in my bed. It was nighttime. I probably should have been asleep. And I had my flashlight on the book. And it was the very end of the book. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who, for some reason, hasn't read it yet.
Yeah.
But I got to the very, have you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I got to
Oh,
the
yeah.
end of the book and he did what he did to that one character, I grabbed my book. I didn't even finish it. I just grabbed it and I threw it across the room. And I don't remember if I cried or if I was angry or what, but it created such a strong emotional reaction in me that I can still remember like everything about that moment. So
Oh, that's an amazing moment. I'm sure Stephen King probably loves hearing from
yeah,
fans
I
when they
know.
talk about, because as a writer, you want to reach your reader. You
Yep.
want to give them some emotional value, something that they can take away from your story. Though I write fluffy stuff, so my stuff is to get people to laugh. And
Yeah,
it's
well,
hard to
that's a strong emotion
write
too.
humor. It's hard to write humor.
It
Um,
is.
but I'll be delving into deeper stuff one of these days. But yeah, that emotion and that. Do you think that helped make you want to be a writer?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that moment kind of shifted me into really becoming a writer. Kind of like you said, you wanted to write that better, not the better ending, but the ending you wanted, I guess. It probably would have been a worse ending had I written it, but
Yes.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then
I
everything
grew.
else.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say
No,
I
go
grew
ahead.
up
Go
in the
ahead.
day before VCRs. I'm really dating myself. So we had a tape deck, and I would record the audio of TV shows. That's why I did screenwriting originally,
Oh,
because
okay.
dialogue is what I grew up with. So I would
Yeah.
re-listen to all the dialogue again, and then change the stories or tell new stories. And I guess it's fan fiction in those days in my head to create these stories of these characters. But yeah, you wanna fix it and make things better for so many of them, or just take them
Yeah.
on more adventures, or destroy the bad guy who didn't get destroyed the way he should have been destroyed in the story. So often they don't get what they should have gotten.
Yes, I know.
So
Yeah.
are you now? You're now a veteran of Jay and Zach's weekend writing retreat. So are you
Mhm.
looking at maybe doing another one?
I would like to do another one. The dates that they have scheduled conflict with my calendar right now, so hopefully next year we can
Yeah,
work.
I was excited when I heard about Seattle, and my youngest lived in Seattle, so I thought
Oh,
I can stay
yes.
with her. But no, I drove her cross country back here, so that's no longer possible. So,
Yeah.
but that museum is so cool.
I've never been. I
So
was really excited when they announced it and the location, and I was like, yes, and just can't
yeah,
make it happen this time.
yeah. So I'm hoping that they'll do something else soon, somewhere.
Yeah.
What I should say to him is he needs desperately to do something near the beach. I live in Florida
Yes.
near the beach. And then he'd be like near me, so then I could
Yeah.
easily go.
You just drive
So
over.
it really, my house isn't big enough, right? Have everybody come stay with
No.
me. Just bring a sleeping bag.
We're all friends.
Really, we'll all come have fun.
Yeah.
Right together. So you'd want to do another writing with people again?
Yes. Yes. I love one of my favorite things that I've done as an author, I guess, is go to conferences. And I've been to a few different types of conferences. I've been to really big ones. Demon of Decay, my first novel, was actually nominated for an award, for a Claymore Award. So
Cool.
yeah, I went to that conference to sit at that awards dinner, which was a lot of fun. And then I've been to stuff like Jay and Zach's conference, where it's very intimate, and you get to really know the other writers there, which I actually preferred, because you're not running around trying to hustle and just getting exhausted going from class to class to class. You get to like talk to people on a one-on-one basis, and you get to know everyone there and build meaningful, lasting relationships. I still talk to a good majority of those authors I met that weekend.
Wow. Wow. And that's so important is having the other authors there to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one really understands what it's like to write a book until you write a book.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's just so much of it. It's not a matter of just like my husband says, just sit down and write it. It's more complicated than that.
A little more
Seriously.
goes into it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it's just something that all writers should do. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
writer and a reader also, hopefully you're both, check out
Yes.
conferences, go to something that's small. I mean, yes, the 20K to 50 is a great conference, I heard,
Mm-hmm.
but there's like
A
20,000
lot
people
of
there. I
people.
don't know how many people.
Yeah.
So it's huge. But
Yes.
do that, but also do something small with, 10, 15, 20, 50 people.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
like writing retreats too. I've always wanted to go on, where you can go to the beach with like 7 other authors, and then they just get a big cabin or big beach house, and you
What's it
just
called?
sit there. They're just writer retreats,
Oh,
and
oh
so
yeah.
you lock yourself in this beach house for 7 days or a weekend or whatever with other
Yeah.
writers, and you guys just write and you just hold
And
each other accountable.
yeah, that's what I need to do. My editor and I talk about doing that with some other people
Yeah,
uh, every now and then, and just going someplace not too fun, but where you can go out in the evenings, write all morning, write from
yeah,
7 to 2, and then go take a walk, and then come back and do a little more editing or writing, and then go to
mhm,
dinner, and then you have the rest of the evening to just drink wine and
yeah.
chat.
How
Though
much
I, though
fun
I
would that
had
be?
some friends in that rented a cabin in Canada, and they they had one girl wrote like 50,000 words over like 2 days. Like, how can you write that many
How?
words? That's a whole novel. That's crazy. That's just crazy. I
Jeez.
I just don't get that at all. But oh, but I'm so glad you could chat today about Night of the Writing Dead Anthology, Undead Tales, 15 thrilling zombie stories, and money goes to charity. So the links are in the show notes, and I'll have links to Alex's. Do you have a website?
Yeah, alexcgates.com.
Okay, and just tell them quickly when the next book is coming out and a little about it.
Well, okay, let me double check when the next book's coming out so I don't give wrong dates. But it is a sequel to Mask of Silence, which is the one that I have out right now with the stitched face on it.
Oh, so y'all have time to finish reading it before the new one comes out.
Yes, and if this I don't know when you're gonna release this video, but Mask of
In two
Silence
weeks.
is on a 99-cent sale right now.
Okay.
The
This won't go
17th
out until the 21st.
till the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll be off sale. So don't
Oh,
don't worry about that then.
sorry. Sorry, everybody. You weren't quick enough.
Don't
So,
worry about it. So the sequel to Mask of Silence, though, will come out March 24th. Um, it is called What's Left of the Night, and it's pretty much at the end of Mask of Silence. There's this climactic event, and it's kind of the consequences to the survivor of that climactic event. What is she? That kind of spoils it. What is this person going through,
yeah.
and how are they coping with the
With what
events a
they're
year
going through.
later?
Yeah. With the events. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that's good. Then the show will come out on the 21st. So you saw the 24th it comes out. That'll be 3 days from when you're watching the show. So yeah, we're recording this a little bit early because I needed to.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I had an accidental 2-week hiatus on the show just because of my travels. I went like, everybody's probably sick of me talking about it, 3,300 miles by myself across country driving. Well, not by myself, but I drove the whole way. So I'm like just starting to recover.
That's
So
ridiculous.
yeah, it's little too, and I love road trips, and that was too much.
But by yourself, that's a little much.
Well, I had people with me, but I was the
Oh,
only one driving.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So my younger, I was telling this last week, my youngest was with me, but did not have contacts. And every time we went by a Walmart Vision Center, they were closed. So
Oh no. So she
yeah, so
couldn't drive.
we go, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we can get you some eyes tomorrow. No,
Nope, it didn't happen.
no. And the poor thing couldn't see the whole time. So yeah,
Oh
it was not,
no.
I don't know. The contacts were packed somewhere. So they're okay now though. So
Good.
all right. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and maybe we can have you back another time to talk about another book.
Yes, I'm always writing, so
So that's really good. So you'll have to keep in touch.
yes,
And
of
thanks a
course.
lot. And just hang on for just a second. Thanks, Alex. You'll find links to everything we talked about down in the show notes. And don't forget that all proceeds from the book go to the George A. Romero Foundation. So grab a copy right now. Next week, I will have RJ Spears, more from this anthology. And in the meantime, go read a good book.